Stuart.
Thanks very much, Gillian. I want to bring in former CIA guy. His name is Mike Baker, frequently on this program, and a welcome guest indeed. Especially today, Mike Baker. How long do you think Maduro has to last?
Well, that's the big question right now in Washington, D.C. You know what? I don't know. It's an easy and honest answer. But look, there's enormous pressure on him from different directions, right? And the scenarios that have been gamed out in Washington are either there's an internal change, meaning Maduro's advisors and others force him out because they said enough is enough. There is a decision perhaps by Maduro himself that says, okay, if I can get the right deal, meaning basically amnesty for himself, his family, and some close advisors, then he'll be on his way. Or there is direct military intervention by the U.S. Those are the three likely scenarios that we're dealing with. But Maduro is feeling enormous pressure. He has surrounded himself. Interestingly, there's a lot of players in this. It's not just the U.S. and Venezuela. Cuba has a big stake in this. And Maduro has called on the Cubans, their intel personnel and military, to come in and act basically as his closest protection, because he's gotten to the point now where he's not sure he can trust his own people.
But if he's still in power in the early part of next year, that will be a defeat for the United States and a defeat for President Trump. Something has to happen, and quickly. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. I think you're right, Stuart. I think that, you know, if this drags on indefinitely, you know, I think the American public at some point is going to say, what are we doing? Yep. Okay, sure, we're targeting narco traffickers. We're taking out all these boats. We've killed over 80 individuals. Can we get more clarity on that, perhaps? And then there's going to be all the legal questions, right? And then there's the issue of what do we do with, there was a good question from the reporter asking President Trump, what are you going to do with this tanker, right? How does this work in going forward? That was a sanctioned tanker. So in a sense it was, and it was carrying oil, you know, that keeps Maduro's regime in office. And nobody should mistake this and think Maduro is somehow the victim here, right? He has victimized Venezuela and his predecessor Chavez before that. They've turned what was once the breadbasket of that region into a basket case.
Hopeless.
So, you know, I think, but you're right, something needs to happen. Because, look, also we're coming up on the midterm elections, right? Don't forget that.
Yeah, it can't drag on till November of next year. Just can't do that. I've got one more for you, Mike. President Trump says some European leaders are calling for another meeting to work out a ceasefire in Ukraine. Trump hasn't made a decision about attending. But, Mike, do you see any value to these endless meetings? They are indeed endless. Nothing seems to come out of them. Any value?
Right. No, I don't think there's I'm very cynical on this, Stuart. I don't think there's much value here. The only player that matters in this right now is Putin. It's his invasion. It's his war. He hasn't shown any interest in finding an off-ramp for this war that's going on 4 years long. He's got over 1 million casualties, and he's still willing to stay in the fight because slowly and at a great cost, he's still gaining ground. So I think he's looking at one or the other option. He's looking at either, hey, I can continue this fight. I don't care. I'm happy to do it. Or he's looking at, I'm going to wait till President Trump pressures somehow Zelensky into accepting a peace plan that basically meets Putin's demands, which haven't changed over the past few years.
That's right.
And so you can get a peace plan. You can get a peace deal. And I know the White House is desperate to get a peace deal and say, look, we got a peace deal. And you can do that if you give Putin what he wants.
Yeah.
But I don't know that that's going to be the end result here.
Yeah, I agree with you. Mike Baker, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks for being here.